Good morning, everyone. Dr. Victoria Scarbo here, speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center in Wareham, Massachusetts. Today is Saturday, July 3rd, or Sunday, July 4th, if you're in Australia and New Zealand. And the moon starts the day in Aries and moves into Taurus at around 8:30 a.m. on the east coast of the U.S. In fact, it's a little past that, and to celebrate the moon moving into Taurus today, I was actually standing online to get some tiramisu donuts from a little cafe down the street from me, which my husband reminded me like 5 times to don't forget the tiramisu donuts. So I did actually eat mine. It was right out of the oven. I don't know if I've ever had or wherever donuts come from. I don't know if I've ever had them right out of the oven like that. It was delicious, and his is waiting for him. So, of course, let's see, what else is going on? We do have, we had an early morning square between the moon and, let's see, Pluto. I'm looking at my handwriting, but I kind of scratched it here. That is a crisis in action. So we have this sort of, we sort of wake up with this sense of like, I got to go do something, right? Of course, there were a lot of people in line to get those donuts, so I wasn't the only person, stimulated to move, I guess. We also, then once the moon moves into Taurus, it makes a supportive sextile to Jupiter in Pisces. Compassionate conversations, we might say, with that one. We do have some challenging aspects today, the first of which is a sesquiquadrate between Venus and Neptune. Venus and Neptune are both planets associated with love. Sesquiquadrates are humbling, crisis-producing aspects. And we just have to be careful about too much idealism, too much dreaminess that can ultimately disappoint us. So be aware of that today. We also have an inconjunct between the Sun and Saturn. Inconjuncts are the energy kind of missing the mark. It's like you think you know where you're going and you assert yourself to go in that direction, and then you realize that, no, that wasn't quite right, and you have to make an adjustment. These adjustments with this type of inconjunct are generally mental adjustments, but we can feel kind of pessimistic about certain things. It's interesting because we have that Venus-Neptune thing where we're like, oh, and then we have this Saturn-Sun thing where we're like, oh, so there can be different, sensibilities today, or we may find ourselves moving from to over the day. Of course, we have to remember that only 2 days ago we had the opposition between Mars and Saturn. That is still, of course, in orb. We're still feeling it. We're still feeling like we want to move forward, but that something is holding us back. But of course, the opposition really is less about movement and much more about awareness. However, later tonight, we're going to have the second part of that Saturn-Mars-Uranus story, and that's the exact square between Saturn and Uranus that occurs around 9:30 tonight. It is the 3rd of July. Tomorrow is the 4th of July. Mars square Uranus can be very explosive. And I know everybody's going like, yeah, well, it's 4th of July. There's going to be explosions. Not everywhere. There are some states that, because of drought, said that they cannot have them. I'm very happy that that's happening. I think that, we can celebrate, but we have to be aware of the natural environment and the problems that we can have if we celebrate in the wrong way, right? So we have Mars square Uranus. Be careful out there, guys. I know I've been saying this almost all year, I think. But it is worth a mention again. It is an explosive energy. It's a crisis in action square So people are sort of chomping at the bit to do something. Mars is in Leo. Mars in Leo is like my way or the highway. Not always. Mars in Leo can be super creative as well. And we'll feel that super creative energy all month, actually. But Uranus and Taurus, there can be some seismic activity that gets activated through this energy. We just need to be aware of what's around us and allow your spidey senses to be on high alert. Even a little bit of a spidey sense, it might be worth it to just sort of move away from wherever you're feeling that perhaps it's not a good place to be. So, and while I know a lot of people like to make merry on days like today and weekends like this, don't make too much merry, because you want to make sure that your senses are somewhat heightened. You don't want to dull them too much. So we have the fennel that's growing to fantastical proportions. This fennel is, let's see, I'm 5'7". I think the fennel's about 6 feet tall now. And then we have these, which haven't actually bloomed yet, but you can see, again, these are also pretty tall. Let's see, this thistle is taller than I am. So this will be fun. These are like little purple balls, and the pollinators really like them. Let's see what else is going on over here. Of course, we have the black raspberries that are growing in the garden. They're not really supposed to be growing in the garden, but they're so delicious. I'll let them, and then I'll cut them back. Otherwise, the garden will be taken over. And then, of course, some of my favorite daylilies. I love these daylilies. These used to be at, I used to live about, 3 or 4 houses from the Cape Cod Canal. Beautiful neighborhood. And those were in the garden. And when I left, I asked if I could take a few. And of course, the landlord said yes. And I took a few and I brought them here. Some of my favorites. And then, of course, all of this here. And the hydrangeas are just gorgeous. Now they're opening up. And we're going to have different kinds of lilies soon. Oh, this over here is mallow. Mallow. I planted this years ago, and every year it comes up in a different spot. This is a good spot this year. Last year it came up between this little maple tree, so you couldn't really appreciate it as much as you can appreciate it now. They're just so sweet, right? I love these little flowers. They're just so sweet. And of course the hostas are flowering now. So lots of things blooming. And then Michael's garden. On the left is peas. And on the right is mostly tomatoes. And some eggplant. And I think some peppers in there. I guess mostly nightshade stuff, huh? So we're looking forward to eating some of those tomatoes right off the vine. When they're warmed by the sun. Oh my God, it's the only time really you should eat a tomato as far as I'm concerned. So, what's the moral of today's story? Be aware and take care. You are going to want to take action. You're going to want to take revolutionary action. And you can do that. You can do that in your own way, in your own life. You can do it with a group. You can do it by yourself. But this is a time of freeing yourself. So if there's any constraints that you have that have held you back, perhaps this is the time to free yourself up. To keep your imagination a little bit in tow. That inconjunct between the sun and Saturn might make you feel a little insecure or not worthy. Don't pay attention to that. You're worthy. We're all worthy. We're all worthy. But just be aware that even you may know that, but other people are feeling unworthy. And when they come from that place, they don't usually do good things. So be aware again. Okay, guys. Have yourself a great day. Like and subscribe. And thank you for all your support. I went to see Ma twice yesterday in the afternoon and then in the evening. And she's okay. She's okay. She's not happy. She's in the hospital. But I think there's a part of her that understands that I just couldn't handle it anymore. She really needs the kind of care you can only get at a hospital or a facility at this time. So I appreciate all your support through this. And I will see you again tomorrow. Actually, I think I'll see you again today because I would like to do something for the Happy Birthday USA, because all of this stuff that's going on right now that we've been talking about for the last few days is in the chart of the United States, right? It's activating the chart of the United States. The United States solar return may actually be today. So we'll have to see how close that Mars-Uranus square is in that chart. Also, I did some looking around. I was inspired by Marianne's reading on China. If anyone got to see that, she did the chart. She talked about China, and I was inspired to look at China's chart myself, and then even more so their numbers, their numerology, and also to know that China just had its Mars return. I think it was on the day that they had that celebration of communism, and Xi Jinping said, if you screw with us, you're going to suffer big time. So we can maybe take a look at that as well. I'll do two separate things with that. I would like to do something with Marianne soon, but she is very busy and I'm a little bit distracted with Mom. But if we can get together, we will make an effort. And I do want to do another high tea with Denise, again, with the mother stuff happening. I've had to sort of play it by ear. So, all right, guys, love you. Take care.